right, we live. All right, so we should start. We should start getting an idea how many people are in here. But oh, it's right there at the top. We got three folks in here. I think it's us three. Yo, when y'all get in here, drop me a comment. Let me know. Let me know when you guys are in. We got my nephew Julian Michael.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
yeah, we got him in the house. He's got some real good information. We're gonna get into some real estate Q&A, but we're gonna also drop some knowledge so that people can learn a couple of things and be inspired. And my nephew is on top of things. He's inspiring me, so I want him to share his story and what he's doing out there to inspire some of you guys, so nobody had no excuses. You know what I'm talking about? So what's good? Yeah, drop them comments. We in the stream yard today. We're keeping it official, official. But yeah, all right. So let's get it cracking, yo. Hey, once you get in here, drop me a comment. Let me know where everybody is from. You know, let me know where you're from, and we're gonna get this going, man. What's good? I see Robel. Let's shout out who we got so far. We got Marley Red. That was the first person in here. We got B Kamani, Robel, Hecklers 2002. What up? Jeff Adolph, Tay Money. What's up, Tay Money? We got Cyril, Jeremy White. What's good? Kendrick Davis, Chris G, Ralphie Rodriguez, Kendrick Davis, Tim A, Eduardo. Man, what's good, y'all? What's good? Wu Tang, Dominic Butler. Where y'all from, man? Bronx. Oh, California. Dane, what's up? Q the Chaotic, Detroit. Dave C, what's good? We're about to get it cracking, man. So we're just gonna have a nice little session here where I'm gonna introduce my nephew. I want him to talk a little bit about himself, you know, maybe a little bit. I'll let him describe the relationship, you know, like with me and his dad and everything. But he actually got his real estate license at the age of 19 years old out there in California, which is a huge and a hot market. So we're going to talk a little bit about his plans and that kind of thing, what inspired him to do it. But I wanted to introduce my nephew, Juju, Julian Michael. So what's good, Ju?
Thank you, Lee. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing good tonight. Yes, like you said, a hot market out in California. Definitely a great place to get your real estate license, I will say.
Yes, sir. So Juju's my nephew. Tell him how you know me, like me and you.
Well, how I got to meet Will Motivation is through my father, Michael Granger. That's where I got the Michael from. But they actually go way back, from like childhood. So that's very tight connection right there. But my dad, he knew Will Motivation for a very long time. I say from the neighborhood, stuff like that. They grew up together, did a lot of mischief together. It's good and bad.
Yes, sir. From the hood.
Oh yeah, of Columbus.
Yes, sir. Columbus, Ohio. So so Juju got his real estate license. So what inspired you to get your real estate license out there in California?
Well, what really inspired me, and I like to shout out to Will Motivation for this, but he has great knowledge out there in entrepreneurship and real estate investment. Took his courses, was real infatuated actually. Took a lot of knowledge, took my notes, studied over a lot of it, got real knowledgeable in it, and got my license.
So you took the online course?
Yeah,
Then
finished it.
what part of the real estate investment from everything that I laid out, what part of it do you think you want to like lean towards, or what part of it do you like the best?
Well, what I say I like the best is pretty much the whole simple concept that I like to live by is just buy and sell. The whole concept of a fixer upper. That's kind of what geared me and like really infatuated me with real estate. But more than that, I have a real good history in buying and selling things. Retail market. That's really another great inspiration for me. Been doing that sort of like my whole career. Actually, inspired
So
me to be an entrepreneur.
tell them how old you are.
I'm 19, just turned 19 in June 28th.
So he's 19 years old. Born on June 28th. The funny thing is, my son was born on the exact same day, not date, the exact same day, June 28th, 2002. So they're the exact same age, man. It's crazy. But Juju, all right, let's get into it. So, um, has anybody in the chat or that's in this live stream, does anybody already have their real estate license? Drop us a comment. I'm gonna pin y'all up. Anybody has their license already? I just want to see real quick. What's good, Elliot? What's good? Now, I personally, as an investor, I do not have my real estate license. A big question that I get all the time is, do I have to have my real estate license to invest in real estate? And the answer is no, you don't have to have your real estate license. However, if you're, a young person like Juju on the up and coming, it can only help you because what's going to happen if you get your license? He probably knows more about California real estate than I do, I'm sure. In order to pass that test to get a license in California, you gotta know what you're doing. You gotta answer the questions correctly and all that kind of stuff. So you're gonna, at a minimum, you're gonna get knowledge on the legalities of buying and selling real estate in a particular state, right? Am I correct?
Definitely.
Okay. So you're gonna at least at a minimum have some basic knowledge and legalities. Now, if you're an investor and you want to stay an investor, then you don't have to do that. But if you are someone, like I said, like a young professional where you could potentially have a career in real estate, like not only as an investor, but potentially representing buyers and representing sellers, or representing yourself in transactions as a buyer or a seller as a real estate agent, right? So now, so you got your, how long have you had your license out there, Juju?
Well, actually, just passed my exam. I want to say August. So still excited over that, and actually currently waiting for the Department of Real Estate to give me my license number and my certificate.
Are they like behind because of COVID?
I wouldn't really say COVID, but it's not a lot of people in the office from my experience and talking to them.
What city are you in?
Right now I'm in Vallejo.
Vallejo is outside of San Fran.
Oh yes,
Okay, so it's outside of San Francisco.
45 minutes away actually.
Okay, so when you started studying up, tell us the process. Like, what's the first thing you did? Like, what's the first step you had to take in order to figure out how to get your real estate license?
Well, and I'm gonna be honest, the first step I had to take was pretty much clear my mental of everything negative. I had to, pretty much detox everything out and just focus in solely on, the concept of just wanting to pass. And I'll say that right there was like the leading start, and it just took on. Yeah, it was like really a natural process for me. But other than that, every day studying, but still doing everything that, kept me motivated.
How did you find out what steps you had to take to like get the study materials and did you have to like sign up for a class or something?
Well, yeah, actually I did. And I want to give a shout out to my great friend Trina. She's a broker out in Dayton, Ohio, and she's also on the board with NARAB. So she actually appointed me to a course that she's partnered with, the CE course, continuing education course.
What is NARAB? What's that?
That's the National Association of Realtors for African Americans.
Oh, cool. I didn't even know they had such a thing.
Yes, actually a pretty big board.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she helped hook you up with some classes.
Yep.
And then when you take your testing to become a real estate agent, it's by state. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right, because a state can have slightly different laws about the real estate.
Correct.
So you do yours in California?
Yes.
So how did that go? Like you started taking the course, was the course online?
Yes, it was. It was all online and a few flashcards as well from sites that were, third party.
And those sites as well, like focus on like the real estate laws in California.
Yep. Well, the laws actually that kind of abide in every state, but more state specific. Yes, you're right.
So then, how long did it take you from the time you started to the time you was ready to take your test?
Well, that's That's a good question because from the time that I finished my course,
Mhm.
it took me about a good month. But after that, it took me 2 more months to actually get my exam scheduled. So went back, studied even harder just so I don't like let any memory slip out.
So it was about 3 months total.
Yes, three
That
months.
that's really fast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like some people think that if they want to get their real estate license, that it's going to take them years and years.
And that's what I thought too.
Okay, but it only took you about 3 months.
Yep.
But would you say that's probably faster than normal, or you think that's probably about average?
Yeah, I say it's faster than normal, but I would have had it a lot sooner. And the only reason I didn't is because coming from Ohio, I was still expecting the kind of the Ohio rules where you had to actually have a high school diploma. And that's another thing. I didn't even finish high school.
Okay,
So moving out here, I had that mindset and still thinking, okay, it's going to take thousands of dollars for me to finish school and to get my license. So that kind of actually what motivated me in my entrepreneurship,
hmm
because I didn't have that outlet at the time.
so you got out to California. It took you about 3 months to be ready to take the test, and then what was it like when you took the test?
Really exciting and life changing. I could say it really did a good for my mindset, and I was real excited. I wasn't really nervous actually.
Where you got taken in person?
Yes,
So like tell us how that goes. Like you had to find a place where you take the test and what happened?
yes. You find a city close, and I found Sacramento, but it was still an hour out. And
Okay.
I could say that was the only time that I was nervous was the car ride. Once you get there, it's almost like taking a practice quiz.
Okay.
Everything you already know.
So now how difficult would you say it was for you when you took the test?
Well, it was. I'm not gonna lie to you and say it was easy. It was very difficult in certain aspects. And the only aspect I could say is difficult is just the way they word every question. You just have to be able to understand every question, every definition and what it means.
Okay. Okay. So you got through it. How did you find out like you passed or whatever?
Well, they tell you right there once you pass, and this is another aspect that had me kind of nervous, is
Uh-huh.
because they print out your test scores right there. They
Uh-huh.
hand it to you and it's stapled shut. And then you open it right there, or they give you a chance to go to the bathroom too if you want. So I did that. I took that option. I went to the bathroom, opened
Open
it
it
up, opened my eyes,
up.
and then I already knew I passed. But you can
So
see all type of people that kind of had bad feelings, like they looked like they didn't really pass. Probably they didn't seem sure.
so you passed it. When was that when you passed it?
That was the 28th, I think, of August. I'm
Okay.
not sure.
Okay. So
Right
now
before September.
so then you get so now you're official because you passed it. They got your name in a database or something like that.
The department does, but not on the site yet. Once I get my license number, I'm on the website, the
Okay.
government website.
All right, so here's what probably a lot of people want to know. So first of all, let me for anybody that came onto this live stream a little bit later, I have my nephew Juju. I call him Juju, Julian Michael. He's 19 years old and he already has his real estate license to be an agent in the state of California. He passed the real estate licensing exam, and he's telling us about the steps and the process that he had to go through to do that. Now, I want to remind people, in order to be a real estate investor like myself, you don't have to be a real estate agent or a licensed agent, right? When you're a licensed agent, you can represent buyers and sellers on real estate transactions, knowing the laws and legalities and process and everything for buying and selling a home in a particular state. But to be an investor, like I could get a real estate agent like my nephew Juju to represent me to sell a house, to list it on the MLS, or to buy a house and deal with the sellers for me and all that good stuff, making an offer and coming up with that, just like I have my realtor Rich here in Columbus, right? So he did it out in California, so he just got done with it, and we're talking about what it was like for him to do that, what it was like for him to pass it. But my thing is, reason why I like to share his story is he's 19 years old. So now he just got his license. he just opened up a whole new possibilities, a whole new set of possibilities for himself and his life by being able to pursue a potential career in real estate. And even if he doesn't represent any buyers or sellers anytime soon, he now has a better understanding of, what's involved in real estate transactions, way more than the average person would have. So that, real estate is one of those things. It's just like getting a job one day and making money and learning how to invest your money. Real estate is one of those things, like, part of life where it's always a good thing to think about owning real estate, investing in real estate, buying and selling real estate, and leveraging real estate to get some of the things you want out of life. So super proud of you, Juju.
Thank you.
And let's go ahead and continue with the story. So what my next question was going to be is, what do you think you want to do now that you have the license? Do you want to start going after sellers and trying to, list properties, or do you want to start representing buyers? Because I'm gonna tell you a story. I got a friend of mine who's in Virginia that I went to college with, and his wife got her real estate license, and she's like real like social butterfly, and she's like knows a lot of people, and a lot of people like dealing with her and working with her. So she thought, let me try doing, like getting my license and representing people, and she did it. And we all knew that she was going to do well in it because of how like good she networks with people, and how diligent she is and stuff like that. And she started representing buyers, and some sellers as well. But I think she's mostly representing buyers, and she gets, some not really nice commission checks, and she's doing well with it. So my question to you is, what are you thinking about focusing on now that you're going to have your license?
Well, that's a good question. Me focusing solely on actually trying to become an investor myself was sort of my mindset. But as a new agent, I kind of stir away personally from the aspect of like looking and helping people, as in reaching out, because of the more so reaction it leads to might not be beneficial in your business, because it might not always generate a potential client. It's a good way to actually get blocked by a lot of people. So buyers is a good way to go for sure, because there are definitely people that are looking to maybe have representation and actually deal with other people.
So I'm gonna give you some advice if you want to start representing some buyers.
For sure.
If you leverage the internet and look, I think a good market to get will be buyers that are coming in from out of state,
and the country.
Yeah, or out of country, yes. Because people that are already in California and they grew up in California, because you're not from there, they might feel some kind of way about you knowing the area more or less than they do. However, somebody coming from out of country or out of state moving to the state won't be an issue. So it could be like a market you could tap into to figure out where to have a presence online, to create, like, probably the easiest thing to do. Actually, let me tell you, like, here, I'm gonna give you some killer advice right now. Here's what you do. If you want to start getting, and this is anybody that's got a real estate agent license, right? And you want to boom up your clientele. Here's what you do, Juju. You get your video, either your cell phone, or get a video camera, right? Figure out what market you want to focus on, like high-end homes, upper middle class, lower middle class, or bargain basement type stuff. So whichever one you think. I would probably think, I don't know, like, it's California, so I don't know. You could figure that part out, right? But once you figure out which market you want to, because you're going to have the clientele for each one of those markets, right? What you do is go look at the listings for some of the houses in your area that you want to represent, and do videos of the houses, and then talk about it. And I'll give you a channel that you can emulate when you do your videos, and then people will watch your videos, and then they'll start calling you for when they come in town to look at the houses. You'll kill it with that. Trust me.
Social media is definitely a great outlet when it comes to building your clientele. You're right.
You will kill it if you do this. Trust me. It's like, I don't know why. This is like, I mean, some realtors don't want to focus on buyers as much as they want to focus on more the seller side, or maybe they want to focus on, other stuff. But let me give you this channel. Let me see. I'm gonna send you a link. And I'm gonna share it with everybody too. But this guy is killing it by doing this. He also has a huge YouTube following, and all he does is he does Las Vegas real estate, and he shows the houses and stuff. So check out the comments. I'm dropping a link to his channel right here. So you want to go to his channel after we get off this live stream and look at his videos, and then figure out how you can do that in your market and promote it on YouTube. And I'll help promote it and stuff like that. But then you can you'll start getting these people that are looking at real estate. Maybe they have an eye on that property, but they don't have an agent yet, right? Then they watch your video because they're out of town or out of state. Then they're like, oh wow, somebody did a video of this property. Let me go check it out. Oh, this guy's cool. He seems like a nice guy. Let me call him to represent me. Then you got him.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's gonna be my advice. All right. So yeah, I think that's a great way to get involved. Going forward. So let me ask you, do you have any questions for me before we start getting into some of these questions in the comments and stuff?
Yes, that's great. It's great actually. Everything that you're speaking on and saying before I ask you a question. But yes, actually I do have a question. And my question is, what would you think would be great advice for, let's say, newcomers that are wanting to get into investing into real estate, but more so without a license?
Okay, that's a good. So the advice I would have for newcomers that want to start investing in real estate, my first thing would be get your financial plan on how you're going to pay for buying a real estate first, because there's a variety of ways to do it. People think, first of all, people assume that they have to have their own money to buy a house, like the down payment and the credit and the bank. But the truth is, you don't have to have your own money for the down payment, in the bank and all that. You don't have to have the credit for the bank. What you need is at a bare minimum, if you don't have your own money, you got to be more savvy and more gritty in finding good deals so that you can bring those deals to investors that don't have the time to do all that finding and digging and finding the deals. And then you could potentially get investors. And this just depends on your situation. Like when I got started in real estate, I saved up some money, and then I built some relationships with banks, and then I used some of the bank's money and I used some of my money in order to finance my deals. So that's how I did it. But maybe if you don't have that much money, you might be like, you know what, let me learn how to find a good deal. And then you find a good deal and you're like, okay, I don't have the money for it, but let me network with some people who are investors that they don't know about this deal because I found that it was off market, for example. Then you could go to those investors and say, hey, if I have some off market deals that I bring to you, can we partner on the investment? Because I know somebody in Columbus who did that. Like he found investors, he found the deals, and then they put up the money, and then he managed the rehab, and then they split the profits. But what I'm trying to say to answer your question is the first thing for a beginner is figure out where you're going to get your financing from and what your strategy or your plan is going to be once you start finding deals, right? Now, once you know how you're going to finance your deals, either with other people's money, the bank's money, your down payment, or cash or whatever, once you know that, then it's about learning how to find deals. Now, and the most common ones are real estate agents like Juju, like people coming in. So you know more than the average person, so you can find deals and you can share deals with a list of investors, for example, right? Have a good agent that can bring you deals. Number two, just go out to the most obvious places. Like I found my first deals on Zillow. Literally, like I went on Zillow and I was finding these cribs and I was like, wow, like that house really that cheap? Like why? I felt like it was fake. I felt like going to Zillow, I felt like so many people had access to it that it was fake. Like it was not, you know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Hey, for everybody that's in here, hit the thumbs up. We got 80 people in here. If we get 80 thumbs up, I'm gonna give Juju $100 PayPal. If y'all want to see Juju get that $100 PayPal, give him a thumbs up, man. Give him a thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up for
Hit
us.
the thumbs up, everybody.
I don't know how many thumbs up we have. I don't know if I can see that in Zoom in StreamYard. Hey, somebody drop me a comment on how many thumbs up we have on the live stream so far.
That was great what you just said right there, Lee, with leveraging other people's money. That is also a great way to build, your portfolio. And once you do build your portfolio, sort of figure out where your finances are at, where they're going, what you're looking to spend, and what you already, are spending, stuff like that.
Yeah, because if you don't have that, like you'll feel like you're defeated when you're getting started, and then you'll feel like you can never do it. But the
Right.
but the truth is, a deal is a deal. The money is out there, right? It doesn't have to be your money. Like if Juju came to me and said, Lee, I found this deal that nobody knows about. It's gonna cost us 100 grand, and I did all the numbers. The neighborhood, the houses are 200,000 in the neighborhood, and this house is 100 grand. It's gonna cost 20,000 to fix it up. I already, checked out the crib. It needs like, some fixtures and some paint and some carpet and stuff like that. And I got pictures, and he presented it to me like, yo, it costs 100 grand. It costs 20,000 to fix it up. The houses in the neighborhood are going for 200K. It'll probably take us 2 months to fix it up. What do you think? And I might be like, yo, that looks like a slam dunk. That looks like the deals that I'm used to doing. All right. So if I give you the 100 grand or the 120 grand, right? Because you need 20 grand to fix it up. If I give you that and we sell it for 200K, what's the profit split going to be? You see what I'm saying? And then also, if I put up the money, then you can't expect to have your name on the title. It's going to be my name. So basically, like if whoever's doing the deal with you, if they don't do their part of it, then the house falls back to the person that puts up the money, right? But if they do their part and they manage the rehab and everything goes smooth, you got a contract and everything, of course, then you do the split how you're supposed to do it. But if you don't, as an investor, you're gonna be like, hey, I got to take over the deal, and so maybe, and then that's a whole different thing. But that's an example of something that you can do. So we got some good thumbs up. Now you see what happened when y'all hit the thumbs up? We got 90 people in here that quick. So everybody, welcome. I got my nephew Juju.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, we got Juju in here. He's my nephew. He's only 19 years old, and he already has his real estate license. He took my online investment course. So matter of fact, let me show y'all something real quick. Boom! 40% discount for anybody.
Go get that.
You know what I'm saying? I'll drop a link in the chat real quick, and then we'll start answering questions. But I wanted to answer Juju's question first, and that was, tell him the question again, Juju.
Well, pretty much, how can somebody, and what you added on with, no money at all, how can you get started in real estate investing?
All right. G Range, what's good? So your pops is on the line, so I have to make sure I keep my language clean. But all right, real proud of you, Juju, man. So like for everybody, like I said, who's just now getting on here, please hit the thumbs up, because what the thumbs up is going to do when you hit that like button, it's going to create a scenario where YouTube says, oh, people like this live stream, they're giving out some free knowledge, and let's share that knowledge with other people. So so I have, like I said, my nephew, he's only 19 years old. He already has his real estate license out in California, and he just set himself up with a potential career path that could end up being very lucrative for him. So now, is there anything that you're most excited about, or that you want to talk about related to your journey getting your real estate license?
Yes, actually, right now I'm currently looking for my first parcel of land, so getting into the more investment side of it. So that's actually really exciting.
All right, so we got a question for you. Is Juju starting a YouTube channel on real estate? Juju, I'm gonna just tell him you have to do that. You just got to do it.
Yep, right. It's actually going to be titled the same as the Instagram. So Julian Michael Estates.
All right, so y'all get ready for that. Juju, that's gonna be your homework. Get your channel up. Do a video intro. Introduce yourself. My name is Julian Michaels, and I'm happy to represent you out in Cali. I got my license. I'm the youngest real estate license, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You do your little thing, and then start showing them. Just go start looking at properties and video on the properties, just like that Chuckets guy that I put up for you.
Yep.
Do that, bro. Trust me. Then you'll start getting people that are like, oh, I like this house. I found it on YouTube. First they found it online, Then they go on YouTube and they see it because they start searching online, and YouTube will show that. Like if you put the address of the house and all that kind of stuff, YouTube will show it, and then they're gonna start calling you like that dude gets blown up. That dude got so big off of doing those walkthroughs and stuff of the houses that
Right.
now the builders, when they build a neighborhood, they invite him to the neighborhood and pay him to walk through their house.
Yeah, that's crazy because we were me and your brother actually, shout out to Uncle Danny. We were talking about that exact concept, like these major, realtors when you actually become a real estate agent and you get signed up with, the board of realtors registered. But they get flown out to other states to represent and to promote other listings, and you get to pay a referral fee, not a commission, because you might not have your license in that state, but you can still get paid a referral fee.
Bingo. All right, so before y'all start hitting me with the questions, because I've seen some pretty good questions that you guys have for me. Do you have any questions for my nephew Julian Michael that you want to drop in the chat, and then we'll highlight your questions and get Julian Michael to answer as the youngest licensed real estate agent in the state of California. We're gonna claim it.
Oh yeah.
Hey, so drop a question for us. I'll start it off, man. My question for you is, what do you think? Like, let's say I'm a person that's going to buy some real estate in California, and I think I can do it by myself without an agent. What advice would you give on why I should use an agent? Like, what do I have to watch out for that most people don't know about?
Well, I would definitely recommend anybody, of course, go with their comfortability. And if you feel like you do not need an agent, then that's great. But a lot of people, like you said, they might not understand the process, and the paperwork might be a little, scary to them. So having somebody that understands the ins and outs and is able to communicate with the inside for you, and might be looking for a lender or something, but you might not know what to take to the bank or how to talk to those people. So if you have a professional go and do it for you, it might, sweeten the deal a little bit, or, make the process just a lot easier.
There you go. Give them some confidence and that kind of thing. All right, so we got a question from Robel. Juju, do you follow TJ Millionaire on YouTube? He's in California and drops a lot of knowledge.
I'm not familiar with that platform, but I do follow a lot of California-based real estate agents and realtors, brokers as well.
So TJ,
but yeah, if he comments the name, I'll definitely check it out. Sorry.
Yeah, TJ Millionaire. I think, I don't know if it's called TJ Money Millionaire Mentor, I think is what it's called. But he's an investor, and he used to have a tech company. He sold it, and he started investing in real estate, among other things. And he's a good dude. He's also into cars, so that's how I know about him. He's got some really nice cars and stuff. So TJ Millionaire Mentor is definitely a good follow. I recommend that to everybody. All right, let me see what other questions we got. From Elliot Patillo. Since your nephew lives in California, has he heard of Manny Koshpin, or have I will? Manny is a big wig in real estate in California. So I've definitely heard of Manny. I followed Manny for a minute. Manny dropped a video on how he does commercial real estate deals, which was one of the best videos on real estate I've ever seen. So
definitely sounds familiar in the name, and I will say because of the commercial real estate, and that's more so what I'm very interested in. So
okay, yeah, that's a good angle right there. All right, we got another question from Marley Red, representing Columbus, Ohio. What's good, Marley? So in Juju's opinion, what's the forecast of the market in the next 4 to 6 months? What do you think?
That's a big question, because it could be more state based, but I think in the country, I think things are gonna always and keep going up in value, and definitely just depends on location wise as well, and more so the politics in that county.
Yeah. So one thing, like, probably so I have an agent that I use here in Columbus. His name is Rich. If anybody ever asks him that kind of question, he might, if he knows you well, he may give you his thoughts on it. But in general, he usually will never claim to know what the market is going to do. But one thing that I like about real estate that's different from like the stock market is it doesn't swing and pitch as fast as the stock market. If the real estate market is going to drop, it usually takes longer to do that. It will take like months and months for the values of homes to start taking a drop or a rise, right? It's not just like a 1 day thing. Like today, the house price was average price was 150, and tomorrow it's like 250. You know what I'm saying?
So
It's
do
not,
your research.
yeah, so you gotta do your research, but then you also have some comfortability in knowing that you got a little bit of time. If you're doing a flip or you're doing an investment, to ride the market out. But my advice on forecasting the market is be ready for whatever the market's going to do. The market goes higher and higher and higher. It's an opportunity to do what I call flips, and it's all relative when I say higher. But it's an opportunity to do flips. You buy a house, the market keeps going higher. So by the time you're ready to sell it, the value of the house went up plus whatever you did to it, so that you can make a profit. If the market starts dropping, then cool, let it drop, let it bottom out, and then you start buying real estate to hold it for rental income. You feel me? So let the market kind of dictate and decide what you do. But the really smart thing to do as an investor is buy properties that will allow you to rent it out if you have to with a positive cash flow, or to sell it if you have to for a profit. So in either scenario, you don't lose. That's my typical advice.
That's great. Now, I kind of want to add on to what you're saying. Also, when doing, this research and the pricing, and even, the more so the news, when it comes to these markets, be very careful and cautious, because a lot of this information can be very misleading, and that can kind of steer the market a certain way as well too.
There it is. All right, Julian, we got another question from Soul Toucher, the poet. What's up, Soul Toucher? Sound like a rapper. But Julian, are you encouraging peers your age to get into real estate in conjunction with or until they find their path in life? I like that question.
Definitely. And I will say more so, even if it's not a career choice, but it's great in receiving the knowledge and, the mindset that comes with obtaining this license is very, beneficial.
All right, dope. We got another question from Robel. Juju, have you bought your first house or any land yet?
Actually working on it right now, doing intensive research on the best, niches, prices, and stuff like that. And also building up my portfolio. So
Do you have a preference on what your first move would be? What would you like to invest in first?
well, I would like to invest in some land because, the bare bone is always going to be the best price, I feel like. And that
Mhm.
allow me to, build my, again, portfolio. So when I'm looking to build onto this home, I sort of have a history that's already built up, and it's going to make the process a lot easier, and it's going to make the value a lot better too for what I'm building.
All right, so let's say you have somebody from out of the country, right? Just like we had talked about earlier. So James just dropped a question. He's from Toronto, Canada. So any thoughts on someone from out of the United States that wants to buy real estate in the US? What kind of advice would you give them?
Hmm. Well, the advice I would give them, of course, is to again look for the best price, because a lot of things can be priced maybe very high, but if you can get it at a low price, you're guaranteed to make a good profit.
So now, is it legal for people out of the country to buy real estate in California?
Yes, and in fact, you actually do not have to be a US citizen to purchase property in California.
All right, so y'all heard that, right? Um, Now that's something I already knew, but a lot of people don't know that. So yeah, if you're from Canada, you can buy property in the real estate. You can buy real estate in the United States and not be a citizen. Now, did they teach you guys anything about, like, in some countries you can, if you spend a certain amount in the United States, like investing, you can get your, like, residency and stuff like that. Did they talk about that in your course?
Yeah, they did, and you're correct. Actually, once you own a home for a certain amount of years, it actually, sweetens the deal a little bit. You can become a resident.
Did they tell you how much money like is it a certain amount of money that somebody has to invest to get that ability to become a resident?
No, just have to actually have a home, and that's it.
Okay, cool. So there you go, James from Toronto, Canada. Now that's probably different in different states or whatever, but it's something like I'm investing in some property overseas in Colombia, and because if the house is over $150,000 that you buy, then you can apply for a residency visa in Colombia. So your boy is gonna have dual citizenships like now. I'm gonna have dual residence. I have citizenship in the States and residency in Colombia. So if Trump and them and Biden and all these politicians start acting up, I'll be doing my videos from Colombia. All right, what's up, MJG? What's good? What's good? All right, so look at some of these other comments. For all of the people that's new joining us, please hit the thumbs up for us. That really helps our videos out. I got my nephew Juju here, who's the youngest licensed real estate agent in the state of California. So if you're looking to get some real estate popping in California, then that's your man right there, Juju. His Instagram. Let's drop his Instagram real quick. Here it goes right there. Boom. Follow him on Instagram at Julian Michael Estates. I'm talking about. All right. So we got a question from Toledo Bugs. Toledo, is that Toledo, Ohio? So it says in California, there's a project to build a high rise for the homeless of Skid Row. Is that true?
It might be true. I'm not going to say that I'm familiar with that concept, but it might be true because there's, a lot of people coming together to build, like you say, residentials for the homeless, the low income. They're sort of cracking down on that. It's like I stated before, properties in California are very sky high when it comes to the price, and just the rent is crazy.
Cool. Got another question from Hecklers 2002. Hey, Juju, do you recommend a specific school or method for getting your real estate license?
Well, I wouldn't recommend a certain school, but there's a few that I'm very familiar with and that I say are a good one. One that I went to personally is the CE shop, and they're state based, so they're not just California. But YouTube has a lot of good resources as well too. So don't quit on YouTube.
Can you drop that in the comments for them?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have the link
right here. Heckler. And then all right, let me see what other questions we got. So what's up, David 419? Said made a comment like in Cleveland, houses were selling higher than value at home. Is that a big risk? Yeah, that's definitely a big risk, brother. The house selling higher than the value. Like so when you say value, it's kind of relative, right? So the value is whatever people are willing to pay. But if you're like from an area and you know that people bought them houses for 160,000, but now they're paying 300,000, then maybe that, if it stabilizes at 300,000, then that's what it is. That's the new value of it. So so it's all relative now. Now the actual selling higher than the value would mean like the neighborhood, the values of the recently sold real estate, let's say $200,000, the neighborhood is selling houses for 200,000, and then somebody jumps in there and sells or wants to buy a house for 300,000, and all the rest of them are 200,000. Then you have to question, is that the real accurate value of the home? But yeah, it's all that's risky. Like, as I don't know if you guys, how much you follow my channel, but I have not been buying a whole lot of real estate right now because the market is relatively high. And I always got to say relative, because tomorrow, like today, is high from yesterday. You know what I'm saying, or from last year or the year before. But relatively, maybe 2 years from now, the house prices may be cheap. So that's why it's all relative. You know what I'm saying? So like,
that's good and bad.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you just got to be careful and know the area, because if you buy real estate in a market that has a strong economy, then that's what really is going to be minimizing your risk. All right, so Isaac, aka IC, said, is anyone having a hard time with getting a response from listing agents? I see some duplexes I'm interested in, but the listing agents won't answer. Wow, what do you think about that, Juju?
Okay, that's a good question, because that's actually sort of another thing that inspired me to get my license, is because I wasn't getting the sort of the communication needed from the agent, and just the process of what I needed to do as well. So that was definitely very frustrating. And what I can say to that is, maybe I'm not sure. Maybe just wasn't really infatuated with the career.
Yeah, if you have a hard time getting a response from a listing agent, then for one, you probably don't want to deal with that agent to represent you. But two, you might want to find an agent that can represent you as a buyer, that they might either know the agent that's listing it, or they know the brokerage where the agent works, and they can find out what's going on, and they can do that legwork for you. So that's like what Juju could do. Like Juju, if Juju was your agent for the buyer for you, then it would be Juju's job to go figure out what's going on with the agent, maybe call the brokerage and talk to some people and see like what's going on with this listing. And like my agent here in Columbus, Rich, he usually can find out what's like the lowdown on a property for me real quick. All right.
Yeah, sometimes agents, they might not see a certain value that they could settle with. Maybe if their budget is out of their range of how much they want to make. A lot of people tend to get really personal.
Good point. All right, so check this out. Oh, that's CE shop. You posted it in a private. Can you throw that in the public chat in the comments?
Yes, I actually wasn't able to, so I went to my
Oh,
YouTube and did it and logged in.
oh
I'm not
really?
sure.
All
Yeah.
right, let me copy. Let me see if I can copy it. I'll put it in the comments. So this is where Juju went to get his real estate license learning and classes. All right, so I see a question here from Mike Johnson. Says, do you feel new builds are better for flipping as value goes up much quicker than an older or established property? So I think this is a matter of experience as well as opinion. Um, I like new builds because when you look at what you get when you compare properties, they don't usually, in the calculation of value, they don't usually consider how old a house is. They consider how many bedrooms and bathrooms it has in square feet in the neighborhood. So I like new builds because I know if I'm competing with somebody that has an older rehab or something like that, then I can usually present a better product because all of the stuff inside, the mechanicals are new, plumbing is new, the latest and greatest fiber optics into the neighborhood, all that kind of stuff. That's why I like flipping new builds. I mean, I've only done it a couple times, but but yeah, it would be my preference. But at the same time, like some people prefer older established neighborhoods because they got the trees and stuff. They got other houses that have, the neighborhood might have a whole different mature feel to it. So a lot of people like that. But other people like me, I like all new house. Like every house that I've ever lived in has been a new house except for what I'm getting ready to buy in Colombia. So Juju, I don't know if you want to add anything on that.
Yeah, you're correct. And with that, I can say new builds are definitely a good way to go. But like you say, you might want to settle in a neighborhood that's already established. The value might already be there. A great possibility for renters, if that's an income you're looking for.
What's that? You want to go ahead and read off that next question?
Oh, yes.
I got it. Here it is. What up, Will? From Nickel.
Sorry, I couldn't really see my screens far away.
Oh, okay, that's all good.
Yeah.
So Nizzle said, "What's up, Will? Recently finished your course, amazing course at Will. And of course, you had some plans for out-of-state investing. Airbnb.com. Can you please add a section for this if you have an update?" Yeah, I'll definitely do that. So a lot of people have been asking me. So I did a video where I went to Florida. I did like a special trip. I took my kids with me or whatever, and we looked at some real estate in Florida, and I found a neighborhood that was like an Airbnb neighborhood, and I was going to potentially invest in one of those properties. And I was really excited about it. I was like all in on what I had seen. But the only thing that I was hesitant on is the people that worked at the company. It was a Pulte, I think, called a builder called Pulte Homes. They only had one agent that represented the whole neighborhood, and I really felt like it was some mafioso type stuff. Like that's what I call it. That's not literally what it is, but I felt like it was. I felt like me being an outsider wanting to invest, that they saved the best properties and like deals and stuff for people that they already work with, maybe that are from the area or that have bought a lot of homes from them. They didn't say that, but that's how it felt because I kept asking for, like, okay, I want to buy this house, I want to buy a house, but I'm real particular about what lot that I get, right? And they wouldn't just outright say, okay, you can reserve that lot with this amount of money, and that lot is going to cost this much, and here's what the house is going to cost. They wouldn't do that. Like I had to sit around and wait, and then they tried to sell me some bad lots. They tried to sell me some. So I didn't like the feel that I got from that builder. And then when I finally got a price on the lot, check this out. The houses that they were building range from 500,000 to 750. Okay. I was thinking about looking at a house around 600. Okay. Kind of in the middle. But the lot that I wanted, which was a corner lot, they're not big lots. They're all tiny lots. So it's not like it was a great lot. Let me tell y'all what happened. I wanted to buy this lot on the corner. They knew I liked it because they knew I was particular. I think so. I don't know if it was that or their mafioso type stuff they was doing, but this guy tried to say that they were going to sell me that lot for $200,000 on top of the price of the house. Now, it's not unheard of to have a markup on a lot, but it's usually like a little bit, especially if it's a little tiny lot already. But usually the markup might be 20,000 or 15,000 or 45,000 on the high end or something like that. 200,000 extra for this little, like it wasn't like it was a whole lot more space. Now it was probably the best lot in the whole neighborhood, in my opinion. But it would have made the cost of the house go to $800,000. That's almost $1 million for one house. So I pumped the brakes on that operation of investing in that Airbnb. Now the numbers still potentially could have worked out, but tying up $800,000 on one house is a lot. When I say tying up, I wasn't going to put up a whole 800,000, but I would have to put up 20%. That's 160,000. That's a lot. That's a whole house. You know what I'm saying? So I would have tied up 160,000. Plus, I would have tied up my credit for the rest of it, right? I would have had to co-sign on it. Now, usually it doesn't affect me as a real estate investor, like the credit, because I buy stuff with my business credit, but still, like that's showing up somewhere. You know what I'm saying? That's heavy, right? So that's why I didn't go with that Florida property, but I started opening up my mind and my options. That's when I started looking at the Colombia property, because I always had my eyes on property in Medellin, Colombia, or Cartagena, Colombia, for the last 5 or 6 years. I probably looked at 15 properties, but they all seem overpriced for how small the properties were. So I found a property that was on a website, and I started looking. I was like, whoa, man, this looks like a decent property for a decent price in a decent neighborhood. And I got to see it. So last time I was in Colombia, I went to see it. I was going to buy a property that was like 150,000, but it was small. It was turnkey, like for an investor, but it was tiny, like a little apartment, like a little extended stay type joint. But then I saw this other one. It's not as turnkey, but it had like five bedrooms. It was big. It reminded me of my own house here.
The lake.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this could have some long-term potential. So I'm in contract on that particular property, and I'm gonna take you guys along for the journey, explain everything. I got another trip to go down there next month, or this month actually, to close on that property. So I'm getting that. This pretty much a set done deal, and it's gonna cost me 183 compared to what would have cost me 800,000 in Florida. And Medellin is better than Orlando. Medellin is way better than Orlando. So that's what's going on with that Airbnb. All right. So there you go, Nithal.
And your new property, that's Airbnb too?
Yeah, I can Airbnb it, but I can't do day to day. I can do month to month, which is fine because it's gonna be so tight that it's gonna be like one of the what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say there's a minimum price for the property, right? And if you stay there a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maximum is going to be a month, because I might want to come back down there and use my property. You got a month to rent it, right? but it's going to be like a fixed price. So the minimum price is going to be like 2,000, right? And then the maximum will probably be like, if you want to stay a whole month, it'll be like 2,800 or something like that. But the minimum is going to be 2,000, so you might as well rent it for 2 weeks or something like that.
I like those numbers, Will.
Yeah, because then my expenses. Check out my expenses. My expenses will be the monthly HOA, which pays the security guard and pays for the maintenance of the building. That's $200 a month, right? So we just got $200 a month, and then I got to pay taxes, and property taxes in Colombia are cheap. That's $100 a month on a $183,000 property. It's only $300 a month mandatory expenses. Then I'm going to have, with it being an Airbnb, I'm going to have to pay the utilities and the internet. And so I'm not getting cable TV or none of that. So I'll probably have $100 a month internet bill. I'll probably have $50 in water, electric, and gas will be like $20. So we're talking about three, four, maybe $600 a month in expenses, and then everything else will be profit. So my minimum is going to be 2,000. So if I rent it out one time a month, then we're talking about $1,400 a month in profit for the months I rent it out. But I'm more excited about it because I'm getting older, right? I'm 48 years old. I can use, when it gets cold in Columbus, Ohio, guess what? I can jump down to warm weather Columbia from Thanksgiving to Easter. You feel me? I might not be down there contiguous. I'm probably gonna come home every month, but I might be down there 2 or 3 weeks out of the month and come here to do some paperwork. You know what I'm talking about? So there you go. That's the update on that. Juju, you want to drop any more knowledge on them before we get any more questions answered?
Okay, well, I actually wanted to add on to what you were saying. I have two things about that. So first, are you looking to later on maybe sell these properties for a greater value of what you bought it for?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Will you be okay? Will you be looking to resell these properties later on for a greater value?
Like everything that I have in my portfolio?
That and just these Cartagena properties.
Well, so I'm only looking at one. And it's in Medellin, right? Cartagena is super expensive. It's like the beach town, right? So I only have one, and to be honest with you, I'm not going to buy more until I have some experience living down there and dealing with knowing for at least a year what the profit can be, right? And what is it more dangerous than I thought to live here? Is it more expensive than I thought to live here? Is it better than I thought? You see what I'm saying? Right. So if it's everything is like better, like I'm making more money than I thought, it's more comfortable than I thought, everything is just as good as it's always been, then maybe I might look at other investments down there. But to be honest, I don't see myself building out like a big portfolio down there. I see this as like one of those happy, super, like if I had that property in Florida, I was going to be using it too, as well as Airbnb in it. But yeah, I'll probably keep that one probably until I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? And pass it, like maybe pass it to my kids or somebody that's close to me or something like that. But now my real estate portfolio here, that's a good question. I think the older I get, I might start, if the market continues to go crazy when I'm an old man or whatever, I'll probably start selling off one by one until I got like 5 left, and then I'll leave 5 of them to my kids or something like that. We'll see. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Okay, that's very interesting.
All right, so we got Rich Harrow, my realtor, Rich. You know what might be fun before we go though? Let me see if anybody wants to come on here and join us to ask questions. So if you got a let me see here, copy the clipboard. If you got a webcam and you want to join us to ask any questions, that's the link to our session. And I'll let you in and to ask a question to Juju or myself. But shout out to my realtor, Rich. Rich always has lots of knowledge and can share insight. So Rich, let me introduce you virtually to my nephew Juju, who just got his real estate license in California. Juju, Rich has been my realtor primarily in Columbus. and he's like an oracle of real estate investment knowledge. You can learn a lot from him about being a good agent because I use him for a reason. Like I use him for a reason because, like, first of all, he seems to know the answer to every question that I would ask, or he can find out, and he has hustle. Like if I want to see a property, he was like, "Let's go see it today." Like almost more than me, which is rare. If it ain't today, it's probably tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So, so that's like one of the main things you want to have in your agent. So, like, when you start representing people, you want to be ready to jump on it. So, shout out to Rich.
Shout out to Rich. And that's a dope thing that you just mentioned, because I also wanted to kind of get into that because like you said, another aspect about having a partner, more so that's licensed, is because you get to see these sweet deals that not a lot of people get to see. And on top of that, like you say, you get somebody that's going to be very interested, just as interested as you, in going and viewing and then closing on these deals.
Exactly. If anybody wants to jump in on the stream, there's the link right there. Don't be scared. But so we got a question from FK. Where did you find out about the Colombia Airbnb, Colombian real estate agent or other? All right. So here's how I found out about it, and let me see if I can set this up like that. The way I found out about the Colombia property is I'm gonna try to make a long story short. I I stay in a place that's like an apartment hotel when I go to Colombia, and I was like, man, this is a nice little setup. I know there's somebody that owns these apartments that I'm staying in that are like hotels, and sure enough, they're individual owners that own each of the individual apartments. And I just start asking questions, and then I got an email saying, hey, this is the person that represents this building, and if you want to talk about this building or other opportunities to invest in Colombia, talk to this agent. So the company was called Casaco. I'll give you guys the details after my deal goes through. You know what I'm saying? But I started asking questions. One of the properties I stayed in, there was one just like it that was for sale for 150,000. I started negotiating on it, but then I went to their website and saw some of the other properties that they represent, and the seller was acting iffy, like I guess trying to wait to see if he could get a higher offer or something like that. In the meantime, so I started looking at other properties, and one of the properties that they also represented happened to be way better than what I was looking at. Way better. We're talking about a 2-bedroom, super small, probably 800 square feet apartment for 150 versus a 2,200 square feet apartment for 180. That's what happened. What's up, Rich?
Hey, not much. What do you know?
What's
Hey,
good?
Rich, how's it going?
Good, Juju. Nice meeting you, man.
Nice meeting you too.
So
I
Juju's
thought I'd hop on here and offer my support, help out with any questions, answer some that Juju might have about being a real estate agent.
So we actually got a subscriber that jumped in. Elliot, did you want to ask a question?
Oh, yes, Will. Nice to meet you. Quick question. Have you ever purchased or invested in commercial property, and what is the challenges financially between commercial and residential?
All right, so I'm sitting here thinking the fastest way for me to answer. That's a great question. And then I'll let Juju or Rich add their 2 cents. So my brief answer to that is yes, I have purchased commercial. One was the office space that I use. And at one point in time, I did rent it out to some tenants that were thinking about buying it, but I rented it to them. And then another was a house that I bought that I wanted to turn into commercial, and I sort of had the green light on it, but I didn't follow through with it because I just moved back into my office space, right? So now the thing for me that slowed me down from getting into commercial real estate was I owned one commercial real estate unit, and I saw how much vacancy was in the building, even though it was a decent building in a decent location. The vacancy was rather high, in my opinion. Like there was some vacant like units like almost all the time. So, however, on the flip side, when it comes to residential real estate, that like there's a high demand in this market that I'm in. So I always felt like my safest bet would be to get into residential real estate because of the demand and because you can sell it or you can rent it. Whereas with the commercial, I felt like you could rent it potentially, but it might take you a long time to sell it. And I shied away from it because of what I saw, with vacancies, in my area. Now, I'll leave Rich and Judy if you guys want to add 2 cents to that.
Well, I would like to add in, actually, commercial real estate is definitely, like you said, a great way for, build your income. But other than that, more so, what's the demand like? But it is a little harder as well because your portfolio has to be very extensive. It has to be wide range. You have to have a good portfolio, let's just say in that. But residential might be a great way to build your portfolio and to go into commercial.
Rich?
And for my 2 cents, a couple of things. Number one, the financing on commercial is totally different than you're going to look at for residential. And like Will mentioned, I'm going to call it liquidity. So if Will needs to raise some cash, he puts a house on the market, it sells in 2.8 seconds, and he's all of a sudden liquid. When you're looking at commercial, that's more of a 3, 4, 5 year sales process sometimes. I mean, even when you're looking at condos,
And I've seen it.
Small office condos.
Yeah, I've seen it. Like my office where I'm at now, I would sit there and look at like the unit right next door or around the corner in the same building, empty for months and months and months. That doesn't happen in residential around here.
Now, there's a unique dynamic that takes place in commercial as well. You make a lot of money when you're really, really small. And what I mean by that is a small office building, a small retail, that kind of thing. And you make a lot of money when it's big portfolio, like massive portfolio. But that transition between being a small investor and going up to being that massive investor, the infrastructure you have to build, the employees, all the business aspect of it, when you get to anywhere beyond just a couple of buildings, you have to have the same infrastructure that these big, huge companies have. Mm. And all of a sudden, you start looking at massive losses. That's why you don't see a lot of medium-sized real estate companies. You see a lot of small ones, and you see a lot of great big ones. Now, let me toss one other little factor in here. Now, there's a happy medium between, and this is where I personally look at investments. It's a little bit more tricky than residential real estate, and that's what they call a mixed-use building. They're becoming much, much more popular.
That's what I want. I want a mixed-use building in Florida.
No, you want one in Columbus, man. So a mixed-use building is where you have community support retail or small office on the main floor, second floor, that kind of thing, and then apartment above. The apartment creates the cash flow to pay for the property, and the retail or office is like the icing on the cake. So you do a triple net lease on your office space down below, but yet you're maintaining the upper level. So let me give you an example. I'm looking at a building right now that, quite frankly, we would put our office into. We would have a self-service gym that's a membership gym. We would do a shared office space. I mean, the most popular shared office space is WeWork, but something similar to that, but not WeWork. Our office manager has to be there anyway. So she can supervise both the community sport gym, which is, like I said, is membership only, and can also support the shared office space. So you kind of have a draw for that. And then we've got apartments up that are managed also by our office. So where I have to have an office anyway for the real estate brokerage, I'm looking at how to multitask that that labor force to be able to maximize. So like real estate agents like to come into the office, that's great, but it's most of the time those desks sit empty. So why not do a shared office space to join with that? I mean, Will's got a similar setup with his office. He could very easily set up a shared workspace in his office. We haven't talked about it, but
Yeah, I thought about it because I got my whole second floor. If I built some stairs in a floor, I had another 2,000 some square feet up there.
Exactly. And you already have to have someone in the office anyway to be working on your primary business.
Yep.
So how do you multitask that out so that you get the biggest return on that commercial space? And then imagine one step further that you've got steady income from residential above it with on-site management. So that's kind of the best of all worlds, and more localities are trying to get those types of properties in place to increase density, to better utilize the public transportation. You know, there's all kinds of geopolitical things that match up to that as well. And that sucker finances out lovely when you look at the numbers. If you get enough apartment income and the retail or the office is just kind of the icing on the cake, now all of a sudden your commercial financing becomes easy, where commercial financing for a strip mall, commercial financing for an office building, those kind of things, very, very difficult.
All right, we got a question from Jawan Grant. Welcome, bro.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. Congratulations, Juju. Big stuff, man.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, no problem, man. So my question is, I'm new to the game, and I recently started a business for real estate investing, and I don't have any like tax statements for the business or anything. So a lot of the properties I have to personally finance. So that's not the issue. The issue is when I'm ready to deed these properties into my LLC, what's the process of doing that without triggering a due on sale clause?
Without triggering a what?
It's called a due on sale clause within the mortgage.
That sounds like a rich question right there.
So first of all, not a lawyer. So everybody understands that, right? Number one, you should look at your mortgage. If you did a traditional Fannie Mae mortgage, affiliated entity is a possibility. Obviously, I've never seen your deal, so I don't know. But affiliated entity, where if you're the sole member of the LLC and you finance the property personally, you can normally make arrangements with the mortgage holder to do that transfer. Whatever you do, though, don't do it without consulting with them. The reason being is because of that due on sale clause. You transfer that property into an LLC and you don't have that capacity with financing, they will call that note and then you're kind of up the creek. Now, the best way to handle that is, number one, talk to a lawyer, make sure that they review your mortgage documents, your loan documents. And number two, make sure you have that lawyer coordinate to transfer those properties over, because there's also risk of capital gains. There's also there's risks that are involved that lawyers can mitigate. Key important part, make sure you get a real estate attorney who has done it before. Lawyers, real estate agents, lenders, computer programmers, anything like that, just because they hold that title doesn't mean that they are good at that particular thing. So when you're talking to that lawyer or you're talking to that CPA, make sure that they have done this kind of work and that they've done it successfully. Any lawyer is going to be bound by the same ethics that a real estate agent is. If you ask me if I have experience with X, Y, and Z, I'm required by law to tell you the truth. And lawyers are required to do the same thing. So, you know, my primary suggestion is, number one, read the documents and make sure you are. And number two, make sure that whoever you utilize to create your entities and do those transfers has done it.
There you go. All right. You heard it from the Oracle himself.
But it is possible. If you have traditional Fannie Mae mortgages and you're transferring it to a sole member LLC, I can tell you that I have clients that have done it all the time. But they utilize professionals that do that. And that professional is not a real estate agent. It is a lawyer or a CPA.
Makes sense. Thank you.
All
My
right.
pleasure.
All right, y'all. Happy Friday. Hope we answered some questions on real estate investing. Appreciate everyone's participation and for joining us on this live stream. Thanks, Rich. Thanks, Juju, and congratulations, Juju, for
Thank you.
for getting your license. And I highly recommend you add Rich to your network because he's the best agent I've ever dealt with or met or whatever you want to call it. So
Sounds like a plan.
yeah, and then
Juju, congrats, man.
Thank you.
do that thing though where you go and start recording videos of properties for sale, like the guy, the channel that I showed you.
Right.
Do that. Like that will bring you business. I have no doubt in my mind. Period.
With permission of the broker or the agent.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Do that.
Thank you, everybody. God bless you. Have a blessed night.
All right. You do the same. Thank you.
Take
You too.
care.
All right, y'all. Shout out to my brother D Moss. What's good, boy? All righty. All right, y'all have a good weekend. I'm about to relax. It's Friday.
Hey, I just got your quarter, so I'm in it, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, welcome, man. I appreciate you. I'm here.
Yeah.
So for anybody that wants to get the course, it's willmotivation.com/invest. That'll give you 40% off. But anyone that joins the course, I'm just an email away. Or like if you're studying a certain part of the course and you have a question, just ask it in the course and I'll guarantee to answer it. All right. All right, man. Everybody take care.